Hello, this is Kerbal Space Program. Welcome to the first episode of my new, most ambitious series, SquashWARP. I don't know. It's my warp drive series. And pretty much for all of this, I'm going to be doing alternating between 8 and 4 times time acceleration in the video editing because, well, I want to spend more time playing the game and less time editing the videos because it can really turn into the other way around. So I got a ton of mods I'm really excited to play, and this is me setting them all up. Some highlights, although I like all of my mods. Let's see, Kerbal Interstellar, B9 Aerospace, KW Rocketry, Tech Life Support, look, Outer Planets. I've never used that before. That's going to be very exciting. ScanSat, Surface Science, Kerbal Attachment System, Chatterer, which will be making these weird squeaky sounds when we go outside. I might need to change that. Just maybe to make the frequency lower. Yeah, we're playing in a science sandbox. I'm swapping out the Kerbals because, I figure Jed, Bill, Bob, and Valentina are kind of overseeing the project. So I'm going to get some new faces. And this is my first ship. Leth. I'm going to say Leth. I don't speak ancient Greek, so I don't know. But this is the River of Forgetfulness. My manned vehicles are going to be themed off of rivers for now, I think. Not necessarily the most auspicious title for our first launch, but hey, it's the top of the list. And seeing as it's, my first mission, maybe we forgot something. Just finished setting up all the different things. I'm actually looking for the Science Here and Now window. It's part of the same mod, but it takes me a while to notice that there's actually another. There we go. And getting out and doing EVA science. I love that we can take surface samples without getting off of the pod because I would never be able to get back on. And lift off of the first Kerbal rocket. It's an historic moment, highlighted by how pretty the real plume effects are, and the non-volumetric cloud, so that I can have a enjoyable gameplay experience with my gaming system. And something seemed to have installed raster prop monitor, which I'm not going to complain about that. Probably B9, I'm going to guess. So we're trying to glide with these little stubby little wings. I just want to get us farther out into the ocean and make sure we end up in the water biome, but I'm not sure where we ended up. Hey, it's Science Sandbox. There's no limit on getting out of the pod early on, which is so nice. But you got to get back in before you get smashed into the ocean. A very successful first mission. Thanks to being able to thrust limit down that solid booster and having a good pilot right off the bat. I did turn on experience, so my Kerbals will be leveling up as we go. And we have Final Frontier to keep track of all of the different achievements that our brave Kerbonauts are going to be making. So the tech tree, community tech tree with a ton of mods. I got the near future stuff is in here too. And moving right along to left 2, I thought it was going to look a lot more different, but when I finally finished it, no, it's the same thing. So I just gave it some more science experiments. Enjoying the use of the Science Here and Now window. And we're trying to make it to the grasslands. I want the new biome. I want all of the science, the bounteous science rewards that are possible. And just before we need to deploy the parachute, we make it to the new biome. I think it's further away in recent versions of the game than it used to be, so we gotta, make sure to bank over early on. And some EVA science. I learned though that you can still hop. You can still jump up in the air and get flying while above the grasslands. And I put those the thermometer and the barometer close enough to the hatch that we can just grab them. Gray and Kerman, proud Kerbal explorer. well, she gets to plant our first flag to commemorate the first 2 flights, and to tell us where the grassland is if we ever need to go find it again. Not that Kerbin has a shortage of grasslands. Also, I don't know if it's really windy, but if you look carefully, she's sliding away from the flag, and this is the point at which she realizes, hey, she can take her helmet off because we have Kerbal inventory system, and now she's wondering, she's got this wrench in her bag, but she doesn't know how to grab it. So after some experimenting, she figures out, okay, here's how you take the, okay, what if I unscrew this wing here? Oh, I can totally unscrew this wing. That's fantastic. Let me put it back. All right, to put it back, I hold H, and oh, what's wrong? Put it back. I hope. But oh, that wasn't me. So, fleeing the scene of the crime, we go back to the research building, and I'm setting a new rule for myself, which is that I am going to unlock the tech one node at a time. You can see I've hidden unused as well as unlocked, what am I saying, as unresearchable nodes are hidden. So it's going to be an extra challenge. I'm going to unlock them one row at a time. And our next river is the mythical river Styx. The river of hate. That's what Wikipedia says. I thought it was the river that you have to cross to get to the underworld, which is perhaps why I forgot that I wasn't going to name my unmanned vehicles after rivers. Beautiful sun from the Scatterer mod. Very much enjoying that. I had to turn a bunch of the settings down, but the ones that I have, boy, I'm happy with. Yeah, so technically, the Styx should have been our next unmanned, or our next manned, or crewed, I should say, because they're Kerbals. But I think it's probably good. I don't know. I maybe respond to the foreboding nature of the name and sabotage my own design, because this was supposed to be a low orbit and high orbit science package, but we didn't even make it space, so we just do what we can. I've got the science container in there between everything, and I've been periodically pressing hotkeys in order to, you know, pull all the science into the container, but it turned out we didn't need, you know, to worry too much about heating or anything. Very satisfying opening of the parachutes above the pretty mountains. And there's some debris from our other stage that survived, which is actually persists for several more launches before I realize it's there. Yeah, so like I was saying, I'm going to unlock one row at a time, because part of the advantage of doing the science mode, even though I want to play sandbox, I don't want to get bogged down trying to do contracts when I have a bunch of mods installed. But maybe next time when I want to learn how all these things work. I've never actually played with a lot of these. I want to kind of learn what the parts that I unlock do before I move on to the new parts. And you know, following the credo of more boosters is always good. This vehicle had no shortage of solid rocket boosters, but what it had a shortage of was any kind of reaction wheel at all. So we're just tumbling out of control, and then we detach, but the batteries are pinching us in and we're stuck. And speaking of batteries, I think it was about here I realized we had none, and no way to open the parachute. So that was glorious. So then we move on. Timgad, named for a ancient library, is our first scientific mission. And and we're going to be trying out these surface sample things. And you know, we've called in our top scientist, right? And asked him, you know, hey, we've got all this equipment we just researched, but the R&D people haven't told us yet exactly what we're doing with it. Can you take it out to the field and see what you can see? And so he's hard at work here trying to climb on top of the spacecraft. But it looks like all of these experiments will take a month to complete, and he doesn't really have a month. You know, he doesn't know that he's, you know, a permanent fixture in our roster yet. He kind of, you know, he's working by the hour right now. So, you know, he just decides, you know, let's be super helpful. Maybe this is part of a, you know, job application, and we really like his showing initiative to put a flag at the west end of the runway, so that when we are flying in with airplanes, which of course haven't even been invented yet, we will know exactly where we want to land. So that's some very impressive work on his part, and in appreciation, I think we're going to bring him on full time. He also figured out oh, hey, I can jump up in the air and get fresh science. And we liked it so much we sent him right back out onto the launch pad. But of course, we now know that none of the experiments do anything. So, and when that pad hopped, it looked like it got a little bit of air, so he got some experience for being in flight, because the launch vehicle, the launch pad is apparently a trampoline. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.